Yay or Nay Show with Alex P. A sports show for sports fans by a sports fan. And now, here is Alex P.
Hey, how you doing? It is Alex C. This is a sports show for sports fans by a sports fan. Oh, man, so many things to talk about today. Absolutely a ton of things to talk about today. Yesterday, though, however, if you were listening to the podcast, I did tell you I was going to start off with the NFL playoff picture as of this moment. So let's go ahead and get into where we stand with that now. So here's where we go. It says we're kicking off our weekly NFL playoff picture amid chaos, confusion, and pandemonium. This is the four-letter network writing this, okay? With 11 weeks in the books, it feels accurate to say the following about the NFL. There are no great teams. There are a handful of good teams, and there are many teams of questionable repute. There are some really, really awful teams, but there are no great teams. Now, of course, if you've been listening to me as of recently, you know I've said the NFL is much like the NCAA. There are really only 4 elite teams. You have a B category where everybody's trying to become one of the elite. And then you have the C category where basically they're going to be firing coaches, firing general managers, firing both, making a lot of roster changes, looking for a quarterback. There's a lot of moves to be made if you're one of those teams in the C categories. However, as I also stated, there aren't a lot of C teams at the moment. There will be, however, within the next 2 weeks, there will be a bunch of teams joining the C group. So you have the top 4, and then you have the B category, and then, of course, you have the C category, which, like I said, is not very loaded up at the moment. In the A category, you've got the Packers, Titans, Cardinals, Ravens. Now, yesterday, I left off a team. I said there are 3 teams that are playing really good football that you have to watch for. 49ers are one of them. And then, of course, you have the Indianapolis Colts as the other one. And you have the Philadelphia Eagles. But one team, because I should have said 4. I only said 3, and I should have said 4. The one team that I left off that list was, and I just was thinking about it. I don't know how I left them off the list. It's the New England Patriots. Patriots, even if I look at what, and I have been impressed with what Philadelphia has done, and I have been mildly impressed with what the 49ers have done. But because of that roster, I'm just wondering if the 49ers have turned the corner. I don't trust the coach. That's where the problem lies. Maybe I'll talk a little bit about that coaching situation today. Maybe I'll still have to wait until later on this week. But the bottom line on that deal is I don't really trust the coaching situation, but the 49ers are looking like the 49ers of old. Indianapolis, without a doubt, is looking like somebody that's formidable. The Eagles, absolutely looking like somebody is formidable. And by the way, do not forget, I called the Philadelphia Eagles very early on in the season. It only took me a couple of games to watch Jalen Hurts, see a little bit of what he had the ability to do, how he was able to make that offense work, how it worked out. Watch that team. Again, in small spurts, but understanding in my mind that they were going to have the ability to do that in longer spurts and then eventually be a lot more of a well-rounded team that could do that on the regular. That's what we're seeing now. But the team that has been sneaky good, that has been under the radar good, is the New England Patriots. Again, if you listen to the national media guys, they're still trying to scream Cowboys, Chiefs, Buccaneers, and the only one they're kind of getting it right on is the Packers, because we agree on the Packers. But other than that, they're pretty much just screaming the same old, same old. Matter of fact, Keyshawn Johnson today tried to say that now that Kansas City beat his beloved Cowboys, all of a sudden Kansas City is the best team in the NFL. No, they're not. Everybody keeps talking about that offense and how they're back. Folks, have you looked at the scoreboard? Have you seen how many points Kansas City is not scoring? Have you seen how they're not even scoring? Did you see how unorthodox the scoring was for the last game that Kansas City just played? Have you seen how Patrick Mahomes has looked like garbage all year long, and he still continues to look like garbage now? And you look at the stats in the last game that he just played, he had 1 interception, but he did not even have 1 single touchdown. And the only touchdown for the game that they love to scream about, which is the game against the Raiders, was a garbage 50-50 throw, which he's been throwing all his career, and he's been getting away with until now. The defenses know to look for those garbage throws that are risky and nobody should throw, and he threw one and got away with it with the Raiders, and all of a sudden, oh, look, he's back. Dude, these people are such knee-jerk reaction people. It's unbelievable. Knee-jerk reactions left and right. Kansas City, they're still Kansas City. They're still a middle-of-the-road team. They're still not going to the Super Bowl. I would take that bet against Keyshawn Johnson all day, every day, and I would whip his behind because Kansas City's not even getting nowhere near the Super Bowl. I don't know where he gets the idea that they will. Just like Dallas will get nowhere, once again, nowhere near the Super Bowl, and I don't know where he gets the idea that they will. These guys get it wrong so often, it's ridiculous. But again, it's because they're fanboys. They're not really analysts who really look at the true scope of the game and look at the big picture. They take snapshot knee-jerk reactions and tell you how they feel based on their snapshot knee-jerk reactions. Because if they're looking at the big picture, you could see, first and foremost, and it's amazing how they complain about this with other teams, but they don't complain about this when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys haven't beat anybody with a winning record. The Dallas Cowboys haven't beat anybody who's going to the playoffs. And how can you have a team that hasn't beat anybody who's going to the playoffs and hasn't done anything in the last 25 years, and yet you act as if they got a pedigree and a resume that allows them, just because they have wins, to be the best team in the NFL? Not to mention, Keyshawn Johnson embarrasses himself when he says, and he says this a lot, you are what your record says. Of course, unless you're the Tennessee Titans. Then you aren't what your record says. They have a false record. No. They've continued to do it even without Derrick Henry, and the game that they lost was a game that you could lose because it's a game against a team that's hungry, that smelled blood. They saw an opportunity, they took it, and they got the W. Plus, Tennessee, unlike the Dallas Cowboys, was on a 6-game winning streak, and you cannot win them all. It's obvious. Listen to what I just told you. Tennessee, based off what I just told you, way better than Dallas, but Keyshawn wants you to believe that they are now the number 2 team in the NFL, and they're only number 2 because the Kansas City Chiefs beat them. And it doesn't make sense. Dallas was not on a 6-game win streak. Tennessee was. Can't win them all. Tennessee lost a game against a team that was hungry, smelled blood, saw an opportunity, and took it. Dallas got their butts kicked by the lowly Denver Broncos, and then they just lost a game that they should not have lost against the Kansas City Chiefs, who are a middle-of-the-road team. Now, at the beginning of the season, I also said Kansas City was an above-average team, but they wouldn't make the Super Bowl. That was one of my big, bad guarantees of the season. Dallas, however, was never on my radar, still is not on my radar. They are maybe, and again, the key word is maybe, going to win their division, but that is obviously in jeopardy with the play of Washington now, with the play of Philadelphia now. There is no guarantee that Dallas will even come out of their division, even though Keyshawn Johnson and these other guys want to just act as if Philadelphia and Washington don't exist, and as if what they're doing isn't real and isn't relevant, and as if nobody can beat their vaunted Dallas Cowboys. Because again, these guys are Dallas Cowboy homers, or the NFL networks and the networks that they work for tell them that they have to say this garbage about the Dallas Cowboys, because I'm getting more and more sold on that fact. It sounds to me like the networks and the NFL tell people you got to talk up the Dallas Cowboys, even though they're not as good as we want you to say they are. You got to talk up the Dallas Cowboys, because that is what it sounds like to me. Because Greeny, Colin Cowherd, and all the rest of these guys can talk about the Cowboys all they want to, and they can embarrass themselves all they want to, but that's all they're doing is embarrassing themselves, because, again, you're talking about a team who hasn't beat anybody with a winning record, who hasn't beat anybody who's going to the playoffs. Hard to believe that somebody who hasn't beat anybody with a winning record, can't beat anybody with a winning record, hasn't beat anybody who's going to the playoffs, can be the best team in the NFL. And by the way, every time Dallas has went up against somebody with a winning record, or somebody who potentially could be going to the playoff, like the Bucs, for instance, who probably are going to go to the playoffs, they lost. Kansas City, who might, maybe, make the playoffs, and the Cowboys lost. So I don't get how you're the number one team in the NFL and you can't beat teams with winning records and you can't beat teams that are going to the playoffs. Makes absolutely zero sense to me. So anyways, with that being said, NFL, NCAA, I've been saying this for a while, 4 teams, and you can pick. I mean, it's really 4 or 5 teams right now because it's kind of gotten jumbled up a little bit. Because again, Ravens, Titans, Cardinals, Packers. You could mix and match maybe a team or two if you want. There's always going to be a little bit of difference, but it's definitely nowhere near what the national media wants you to believe. Chiefs, Bucks, Cowboys, give me a break. None of those 3 teams are in the top, but they want you to believe it. So as we continue on with this story here, basically the bottom line is it's breaking down what we would be looking at if the playoffs were to jump off today. So what they have in the AFC is, and it's amazing. Keep in mind, national media. What did I just tell you about the national media and their picks, right? Remember their picks, what I told you. Dallas, Kansas City, Green Bay, Tampa Bay. Those are their picks, right? But now let's look at reality. If the playoffs were to jump off today, AFC, number 1 slot, Tennessee Titans. Oh, one of the teams in my top 4. Tennessee Titans at 8-3. No team has exemplified this unpredictable season better than the Titans, who won 7 of their first 9 games despite facing the NFL's most difficult schedule over that stretch. There's an important piece. Cowboys, soft, weak schedule, can't beat anybody with a winning record, can't beat anybody who's going to the playoffs. The Titans, most difficult schedule over the first 9 games, and they end up being 7-2. Isn't that amazing how that works? Even without Derrick Henry, they have continued to win, by the way. Let's keep that in mind. Number 2, another team in my, amazing how this is. Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens woke up to the news Sunday morning that quarterback Lamar Jackson would be unavailable for Week 11 game due to an illness, prompting the first career start of backup Tyler Huntley at Chicago. And guess what? They won. Tyler Huntley, nobody heard of him. Nobody expected him to play. Guy jumps in. They beat the stupid Chicago Bears. And I say stupid because that is one of the worst run organizations. Now there's a rumor they might be firing their coach the day after Thanksgiving. So I can't even be polite. I mean, I kind of tried to stop myself from saying stupid Chicago Bears, but I really can't even do that because they are really one of the most poorly run organizations in the NFL. Oh, wait a minute. One of the teams that I said has been quietly playing hot is number 3, the New England Patriots. It took the Patriots less than 2 months to recover from their 1-3 start and supplant the Bills atop the AFC East. Isn't that amazing? Patriots, one of my hot teams. Now, here is a mistake, but you maybe got to put them in there only because, again, maybe they might win their division because their division, in all honesty, is that bad, and that's the only reason why they're going to win their division, and I'm talking about the Kansas City Chiefs. So let's talk a little bit about the Kansas City Chiefs. It says, it's hard to know exactly which way to overreact to the Chiefs' victory Sunday over the Cowboys. Isn't that the truth? In the big picture, it was their 4th consecutive victory, a streak that has brought them from below 500 to atop the AFC West. But it wasn't as good as their takedown last week of the Raiders, a point at which many NFL observers declared the Chiefs back. And again, I would argue that's a false statement. There was nothing special. Where was that big, giant score being run up on the Raiders? Where was that great play from that vaunted quarterback that everybody keeps ranting and raving about? He got one lucky throw in. That's all I saw. I watched that game. I don't understand why everybody says the Raiders are back. I'm sorry, why the Chiefs are back. They took down the Raiders. First of all, a team who can't focus on football. They got too much outside noise. They don't have a head coach. They've got all kinds of problems going on right now. They're basically looking forward to the offseason so they can get ready for next year. And the Chiefs barely handled that business. And it was a lucky, sloppy, ill-advised throw like Patrick Mahomes has been throwing all his career. And now defenses know to look for it, and they know to defend against it. And he got lucky and got one through. and they barely won that game. I do not understand. Cincinnati Bengals, another one, again, because we're talking about the AFC. I guess you could put them here. It makes sense. They did get a W. Let's see what they have to say. There was a time when lots of people were worried about the Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow's health in returning from last season's knee injury. I was one of them. Through 10 games, we can say the concern was mostly unfounded. Just making it through 10 games didn't seem a certainty when the season began. I would agree. They stumbled a little bit. I don't think they're back fully yet. They still have some things they got to figure out, but they're getting better. They're going to end with a great season. Cincinnati, however, is not going to be anybody that you have to worry about in the playoffs. Coming in number 6, they got the Chargers. Number 7, you got the Buffalo Bills. I'm surprised. Again, another one of the teams national media guys have been screaming about all year long. Oh, they're the best. Oh, they're the odds-on favorite. If it's not the Chiefs, it's going to be Buffalo. Oh, the greatest quarterback. Oh, they got it all. They got it all. No, they don't. Buffalo, give me a break. And you're seeing it. They're getting blown up by teams they shouldn't be getting blown up by. And you're seeing that defense that everybody said was one of the best defenses in the NFL is weak. Very weak. Pittsburgh, they're in the hunt. Okay. But really, they're not. Why? Because you have the Indianapolis Colts right there. And with the Indianapolis Colts right there, Pittsburgh's never going to get past Indy. Cleveland's going to fall. I get it. They got him in the hunt. Cleveland's going to fall. Vegas, no, they're going to go down. Denver, maybe they might be the ones to make it only because the other teams will falter. Let's move over to the NFC. In the NFC, you got the Arizona Cardinals at 9-2. Again, on my list, not on national media guys' list. Disrespected, and I'm not even a Cardinal fan, but very disrespected. And this very well-worded thing says, let's tip our cap to the Cardinals, who have traveled quite a journey since their last-minute loss in Week 8 against the Packers, playing without quarterback Kyler Murray and wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins. Absolutely, they find ways to win, and the national media guys find ways to make excuses for the Cowboys. They want to talk about their injuries. They want to talk about how they're missing receivers, how Dak's missing 5 players. No, he's not. He's missing 2 wide receivers. Now, what about that great running back room? Whatever happened to that? I thought the national media guys said that Dallas had the greatest running back room in the NFL, and Ezekiel Elliott's back. And how come he only shows up like every once in a while? And when he shows up, you guys talk him up like he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. And when he fails, like he mostly does, you guys stay quiet on him. You don't bash him. You don't talk bad about him again. Somebody telling you to keep quiet about that? Green Bay Packers, 8-3, coming in at number 2. Agreed. In most scenarios, the Packers with Aaron Rodgers are a legitimate Super Bowl contender. But what should we say about a Packers team that is losing key players to injury on a weekly basis, and yet they continue to win? But I still say the big hole for Green Bay is what it's always been. That defense, irregardless, injured, not injured, they're not that good. They can be fully healthy. It doesn't matter. That defense is not that good. Green Bay can only win with a shootout. Without Aaron Rodgers, Green Bay just isn't Green Bay. Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming in at number 3. Again, soft schedule, not having to really beat anybody. I like how everybody says it's a bounce-back game. They beat the Giants last night. What a joke that is. Who doesn't beat the Giants? And by the way, the Giants beat themselves, and they beat themselves so bad, they had to fire their offensive coordinator today. And now they're going to start off with a new offensive coordinator. And what they really need to do is get rid of Danny Dimes. He's not a starting quarterback in the NFL. Fire Joe Judge. He's not a head coach in the NFL. Get rid of your general manager. He's not a general manager for the NFL. Basically, the Giants need to blow up that whole organization and start from scratch, and they need to do it fast because that is arguably one of the worst teams in the NFL. They're not the worst. They're not the worst. But believe it or not, even though they have more wins than the Lions are still a better team. And even though they're one of the worst organizations in the NFL, typically they're being run a lot better, and they have a lot better upswing than what the Giants have looking forward to. I'm just telling you right now. Dallas Cowboys come in at number 4 in the NFC. The Cowboys have lost 2 of their past 3 games after a 6-1 start, including a 14-point home loss to the Broncos and a 10-point road loss to the Chiefs. Now, again, you shouldn't lose to the Broncos. That's embarrassing. Should have never happened. Shouldn't have lost to the Chiefs. That defense is weak. They're not that good. They're not back. The Chiefs aren't back. By the way, if the Chiefs are back, again, where were the points? Patrick Mahomes, 0 touchdowns thrown. What did he do that's so special that warrants all the talk and all the hype about how Patrick Mahomes is back? It's amazing how you don't even have to do anything. You don't even have to be good. But if you're on the team that the national media guys like, you'll get all the hype and you'll get all the accolades, even though you don't deserve it. LA Rams coming in at number 5 on this list. And you know what? They'll climb back up there. And realistically, the Rams should be above the Cowboys and they should be above the Buccaneers. But they're coming in at number 5. And again, they should be above the Cowboys and they should be above the Bucs. They're better than both. Minnesota 5-5, better than the Cowboys, better than the Bucs, but they need the wins to get themselves elevated above them. But Minnesota is better. Again, their Achilles heel, we all know, Kirk Cousins. Number 7 on the NFC list is the New Orleans Saints. They're not really that good. In the hunt, you have San Francisco, you have Philadelphia, you have Carolina. And again, Carolina, I'm telling you, if Cam Newton can put it together and put it together fast, they are going to be dangerous. I don't have them on my upswing list. I got Philadelphia, I got Indianapolis, I got San Francisco, and I have the New England Patriots. But I don't have Carolina yet because Cam hasn't put it together yet. But if he can put it together, they are right in there for the wild card. No doubt about it. So a lot of things were said in regards to, again, the conversations about Kansas City. They keep talking up Patrick Mahomes. I keep saying how he's failed. He continues to fail. He's looked bad. He hasn't thrown TTs. He did not look that good against the Raiders. I don't know why they keep giving him accolades and acting like he did such a great job against the Raiders. He didn't. They keep talking up Tom Brady. Last night's game was against the Giants. That's nothing to write home about, nothing to be excited about. I don't get it. I don't understand it. It makes no sense. But they want to continue to talk him up as if he is the greatest thing since sliced bread. And he is arguably one of the most boring quarterbacks in America to watch over the past 2 decades. And he really is. There's nothing flashy. He's boring. He's dink and dunk. There's nothing exciting. Tom Brady, arguably one of the most boring quarterbacks in the NFL to watch. Again, fans' perspective, not the NFL analysts who basically, from what I see, from what I understand, from what I watch, now that I'm really paying attention to what these guys say and what these guys do, it seems like their job really, in all honesty, is to be nothing but a cheerleader. They're just a bunch of cheerleaders on the air, and they're just screaming rah, rah, rah for everybody, and they're just cheering everybody on instead of being realistic and saying about, you know, what the situation really is and what you're really looking at and what you really should be seeing and what the big picture is. Instead of going down that scope, they're just a bunch of cheerleaders screaming, hoorahing everybody, saying, yay, 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 go team, instead of telling you what is and what isn't real until they find somebody that they don't like. Like Matt Nagy, they cannot wait for this guy to be fired. Man, it is absolutely pathetic to watch them be excited about Matt Nagy potentially being fired the day after Thanksgiving. Whether that rumor is or is not true, and I hope it's not. If he gets fired, I hope it happens at the end of the season. I think he deserves that much. It's not like firing him now is going to do anything for Chicago. It's not like they got recruiting or anything going on like in college. I understand if a college program lets go of a college coach right now, you got to get your recruiting in line, and you want your next coach to be named so the recruiting class knows who they'd be playing for. That makes sense. Firing Nagy now doesn't do anything for Justin Fields, doesn't do anything for the Chicago Bears, doesn't make sense. If you do that, again, it will only show that Chicago is on the downswing and they are quickly becoming one of the worst run organizations in the NFL. That's all that's going to do. It's all it's going to show. My advice to the organization of the Chicago Bears, don't do it. Wait till the end of the season. I understand if you want to let them go. But believe me, there are other teams who should have let their coaches and their general managers go already, starting with a team known as the New York Giants. If anybody was going to make a move right here, right now, this moment, and I don't think anybody should, I think everybody should wait until after the season. But if anybody was justified in making a move right here, right now, it would be the New York Giants. You got a quarterback who is horrific. You have a coach is absolutely one of the worst coaches in the NFL. He should have never been hired. Isn't that the guy, by the way, who was nothing but a special teams coach, never had been an offensive coordinator, a defensive coordinator, or an assistant coach anywhere? Isn't it that guy? Wasn't that the bad decision that the New York Giants made? So really, if you think about it, there are a lot of teams on the downswing organizationally, and when you look at why they're performing the way they're performing, it all starts at the top with bad ownership on down. Because again, whoever decided to make a special teams guy a head coach based on the fact that he gave you a great interview, so what? Who cares if he gave you a great interview? Can he coach? Has he proved it? Has he done it anywhere? No. That's why you're getting the bad results you're getting now, and the New York Giants deserve it. So you might as well hang your hat on it, deal with it till the end of the year, wait till then, and then make your move. That is what you should do. We got a lot of stuff to go over, but we're not going to be able to do it all today. Got some brand new questions up on our Twitter page at Yay or Nay Podcast, the address of the Twitter page. Go answer those questions. We'll talk about a whole lot of sports stories, including LeBron James and the punch. Was it not a punch? The appropriate move the NBA made in regards to the suspension of LeBron James. We're going to get into that, but we'll do it tomorrow with a whole lot of other stuff. You guys have a great day. We'll talk tomorrow.